Our lead story tonight concerns a fire outbreak at the Guyana Prison Service living quarters on Parade Street, Georgetown. The Guyana Fire Service responded promptly, extinguishing the blaze that had fully engulfed the building. We'll discuss the impact of the fire, including the evacuation of students from two nearby schools due to thick smoke. In law enforcement news, the Guyana Police Force has announced new recruitment standards, now requiring potential recruits to have at least Caribbean Examination Council qualifications. We'll explore the implications of this move and the Academy's goals. The government of Guyana is taking proactive measures to address the rampant destruction of public property during infrastructure projects. New contract clauses will compel contractors to repair any damage caused to public property. We'll delve into the details of this initiative and its expected impact. The Ministry of Natural Resources is launching nationwide sensitization workshops on local content legislation. We'll cover the goals of these workshops and the potential benefits for the local private sector. Finally, in international news, Argentina is facing confrontations outside Congress as politicians debate a controversial economic reform bill. Protesters argue that the reforms will exacerbate the country's economic crisis. We'll look at the developments and the public's response to the proposed legislation. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for February 2nd, 2024. I am Baby Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, the Guyana Fire Service was alerted earlier today of a fire outbreak at the Guyana Prison Service living quarters, Parade Street, Kingston, Georgetown. When the units arrived on the scene, the building was already fully engulfed in flames. The Guyana Fire Service successfully extinguished the fire that destroyed the Guyana Prison Service living quarters. Meanwhile, students from two schools in the area had to be evacuated due to thick smoke emanating from the blaze. A comprehensive incident report will be released upon the conclusion of the operation. The Guyana Fire Service remains committed to public safety and encourages citizens to adopt these measures to prevent fire incidents and protect their homes and businesses. Regularly check cords for damage, avoid overloading outlets, install and test smoke detectors, keep a fire extinguisher and know how to use it. Use surge protectors for electronics, keep flammable materials away from appliances, hire professionals for electrical work, promptly replace damaged wires, use appropriate wattage for bulbs, unplug appliances when not in use, and choose GNVS's approved electrical products. Moving on, in response to the rampant destruction of public property during infrastructure projects, the government of Guyana has mandated that all contracts signed by the government, public authorities, and state agencies must now include explicit clauses. These clauses compel contractors to repair and rehabilitate any damage caused to public property or public utility assets during the execution of their contract. In case of a breach of these clauses by the contractors, the affected parties in the contract is empowered and authorized to evaluate the value of the damage or destruction, the public losses, inconvenience incurred, and the expenses related to repairing and rehabilitating the damage. The determined total value will be deducted from or imposed upon the performance's bond, retention securities, or payments due under the contract. This initiative aims to ensure accountability and restore public property to its original state. In other news, the Ministry of Natural Resources is launching nationwide sensitization workshops on local content legislation to educate individuals on benefiting from the oil and gas sector. Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat emphasized the need to bridge the knowledge gap, particularly in regions outside Georgetown. He added that the workshop aims to educate individuals across the country on how they can directly benefit from the oil and gas sector and assess the nation's capacity to supply goods and services to the petroleum industry. The workshop will begin after the passage of the 2024 national budget. The sensitization is not meant to change legislation, but it aims to provide clarity in certain areas for direct local benefit from the oil and gas sector. Since the passage of the local content legislation in December 2021, there have been various joint ventures and partnerships between international investors and the local private sector. Stick around when we return. Guyana Police Force implements higher education requirements And Kanu reports substantial success in combating illegal narcotics.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to kick off the new year with a bang? Digicel has an offer that'll make your January extra special. Imagine winning up to $1 million in free groceries in Digicel's $6 million groceries extravaganza. Simply top up with $1,000 or more, and you can be one of 6 lucky winners to enjoy the ultimate shopping spree worth $6 million. What are you waiting for? Start topping up today. Digicel, the network for everyone, everywhere.
Good girl, forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Speak clearly with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. The Ghana Police Force has raised its recruitment standards, now requiring potential recruits to have at least Caribbean Examinations Council's qualifications or higher level of education. This move coincides with the official accreditation of the Police Academy, allowing it to offer diverse academic courses. The Academy aims to revolutionize law enforcement training by incorporating an academic curriculum alongside essential policing skills. The training staff holding at least a degree will ensure comprehensive education for recruits. The force invites partners for collaborative law enforcement training, and recruits must achieve a minimum of 70% score reflecting a commitment to excellence. The evaluated entrance exam aligns with the force's dedication to improving educational standards and addressing public concerns about officers' qualifications. The proactive measure sets a new benchmark for law enforcement education in the region. Continuing on our coverage of crime fighting, the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit has reported substantial success in combating illegal narcotics, leading to a dent in the drug trade both domestically and internationally. Kanu's head, Jaden Singh, highlighted the achievements during the Ministry of Home Affairs agency review. The unit's strategic measures, partnerships with local law enforcement and government support contributed to the impactful effort. In 2023, Kanu recorded 5 international seizures, making it more challenging for narcotics to be transported in or out of Guyana. The ministry intends to invest $827.4 million in 2024 to enhance Kanu's capabilities, including constructing a new headquarters and acquiring modern technology for narcotics detection. The unit cleared in excess of 1,300 kilograms of narcotics in 2023, with cannabis being the most confiscated drug. Cannabis accounted for 94% of the total narcotics seized. The Home Affairs Minister and Permanent Secretary expressed satisfaction with CANDU's performance and emphasized the need for further growth and improvement. Don't go away after the break. Mali protests. Rally supporting Junta's decision to quit ECOWAS. And European Union agrees on new $54 billion aid package for Ukraine.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Not a single bar of service.
Not with us. Digicel officially has the best mobile coverage in Guyana. Ookla, the company behind Speedtest, recognizes Digicel as the network with the best mobile coverage in Guyana. Be it in Aishalton or in Etteringban, we got you covered.
Digicel, the award-winning network for everyone, everywhere.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. There has been confrontations outside Argentina's Congress as politicians debate a controversial economic reform bill. Protesters says the reform will make life even harder for them as the country struggles with an economic crisis. Al Jazeera's Teresa Bo reports.
Tension and chaos outside Argentina's Congress as a debate rages inside on whether to pass Argentina's President Javier Milei's so-called omnibus bill aimed at modernizing the country's economy. Not everyone is happy with the change the president wants for Argentina.
The only way Javier Milei can impose his ultra-liberal model is with repression. He wants to delete workers' rights in Argentina with the bill, and we won't allow it. We'll be on the streets fighting back.
This has been the situation outside Congress as the law is being debated with hundreds of protesters trying to make it to the building and the police using pepper spray, water cannons in order to prevent it. Javier Milei came to power with a promise to transform Argentina, to modernize the economy, to attract foreign investment. But he will be confronting with Argentina's powerful labor unions and with thousands of people on the streets willing to challenge him.
Milei responded to the violence outside Congress with this controversial tweet. A lion in Congress opening a cage or a prison for the thousands of protesters on the streets. The bill initially contained over 600 laws, but has now been reduced to over 200 as the president was forced to give in to the demands of other political parties. The new package gives the president emergency powers for a year, allows for the privatization of 37 state companies, and modernize the exploitation of fossil fuels.
La Argentina está en terapia intensiva.
Argentina is in intensive care and it's seriously addicted to a drug. The drug is the deficit and the symptom is inflation. Peronism is the drug dealer. Argentina needs to get rid of this addiction because we won't have a future otherwise.
The omnibus bill is the new president's first big political test.
But Milei had a decision to make. He could say, I'm going to go for as much as I can go right at the beginning to have a strong impact, to make use of my political capital because I've just been elected and so on, and then we can see how this battle goes. Or you can say, I'm going to take these things on one by one. I don't want to have too many enemies at the same time. He's chosen the first.
Milei promises his austerity measures and reforms will bring down soaring inflation in Argentina and jumpstart the economy. But these images of repression on the streets show how difficult the months ahead will be, and how the president is willing to confront those who dare oppose him. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
Internationally, demonstrations have been held in Mali to support Junta's decision to withdraw from a regional bloc. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have announced plans to quit the Economic Community of West African States. The three are ruled by the military, which seized power in coups. Al Jazeera's Nicholas Haig reports.
Thick, stiff, and shiny, the prized Malian fabric, bazin, is sought after and exported across West Africa. Bazin is used to make traditional clothes worn for weddings and religious ceremonies. But shop owner Jijila Mamadou is warning his customers in neighboring countries that the cost of the fabric is about to go up. He tells them Mali's plan to leave the regional West African body ECOWAS may bring an end to the free movement of people and goods like the precious fabric.
We already feel the pinch from the current crisis. Add to that the impact of leaving the ECOWAS, we will really suffer, and the government needs to review its decision.
Thousands of protesters are gathering in Mali's capital, Bamako. They support the decision by their military rulers, along with those of Niger and Burkina Faso, to leave the regional body. ECOWAS imposed sanctions on all three countries following military coups. Power cuts in Mali and a fuel and food shortage in Niger are affecting their populations. Meanwhile, attacks from armed groups are on the rise.
It's a populist move because they know that if they lead the union, the bloc itself is putting pressure on them to come back to constitutional order, which they're not ready to do. So withdrawing, quitting the community is a way to extend their staying in power, illegitimately, of course.
For the citizens of the three countries, this could mean they'll need visas to travel and work in the region. 5 million of them live and work in Ivory Coast alone. Custom duties may come into complicating the movement of goods as well as people.
According to statistics from the Senegal government, half of the products and goods that transit through the port of Dakar are destined to the landlocked countries of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. Their withdrawal from the regional body ECOWAS will have an impact on the economies of the region.
It will be a year before the split takes effect, but many fear it means more trouble for the region and the 49-year-old union meant to unite African nations, but now dividing them. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera, Dakar.
Finally, EU leaders have agreed on a $54 billion aid package for Ukraine. Hungary dropped its veto threats during a meeting of member states in Brussels. As the summit was taking place, farmers were blocking roads around the EU capital. They want to draw attention to their protests against rising costs and cheap food imports. Al Jazeera's Natasha Butler reports.
Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban was under pressure as he arrived at an EU summit in Brussels, having vetoed a more than $50 billion financial aid package for Ukraine in December. Other EU leaders were determined not to allow him to scupper the deal again.
I can't understand, I can't accept this very strange and very egoistic game of Viktor Orban. And there's no room for compromise on our principles like rule of law, and for sure there's no room for compromise on Ukraine question.
In no mood to make any more concessions to Orban, who's a close ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin, a select group of EU leaders took the Hungarian Prime Minister aside before the summit. Some EU politicians had previously suggested Budapest's voting rights could be taken away, or all EU funds frozen unless Hungary backed the deal. Not long after the meeting, the aid package, which includes military assistance, was approved.
These 50 billion euros for 4 years also send a very strong message to Putin, just ahead of the second anniversary of his brutal invasion.
Ukraine's president, who'd attended the summit virtually, welcomed the news.
This is a clear signal that Ukraine will withstand and that Europe will withstand.
While EU leaders had resolved one problem, another one was brewing on their doorstep. Hundreds of farmers from European countries, including France, Italy and Belgium, angry over EU environmental rules and foreign competition that they say is destroying livelihoods. Despite the recent demonstrations, farming wasn't even on the official EU summit agenda, which is why these farmers say that bringing their tractors and protests to Brussels is the only way to be heard.
This European Union for 70 years pushed us into becoming very big farms, and all these oversized farms today, they're polluting. And now they're criminalizing us and saying that this is our fault. The message we have for the European Union is that they caused this disaster and that they have to bring us the solutions.
Impossible to ignore, EU leaders said they'd discuss farmers' concerns. They also said they talked about the situation in the Middle East, but came to no conclusions. It was clear that on a day when the bloc had managed to come together, there was little appetite for other crises to overshadow the display of unity. Natasha Butler, Al Jazeera, Brussels.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 30-minute forecast. And that's FTP2 Headline News for this Friday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. We will be off for the weekend, but you can tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.